Hi everyone, welcome to the Schwowin's Nest. Today I'm going to take a couple of thrift store items and I'm going to remake them into better looking and hopefully sellable items on my Etsy shop. I'm starting off with this little bunny basket that I picked up at a thrift store. I'm just using some Craft Smart white acrylic paint and I'm going to give this whole guy a couple of coats and make him a nice clean shade of white. At first I was going to leave his little bunny face rustic and then everything else would be painted white, but then I thought it might look a little out of place, so I'm giving this 2 coats as well. Now that it's dry, I really like how it turned out. It's all white and nice and clean. So now I've got to fix up his little nose and his carrot. For the carrot, I took a color sort of like tan and added a little bit of red, and I got more of a rustic orange look. I didn't want a really bright orange, and so I'm just going to do that for the carrot, and I'm also going to use this color on his nose. For the green portion of the carrot, I'm going to use a sage color, and I'm just going to leave it all one color. I'm not going to do any embellishments. Next, I just needed to draw his eyes back in, and using the same fine-tipped marker, I'm going to go over the grooves in the wood. There's a couple of spots for his ears and then for his little mouth. I'm really happy with how it turned out. For this next project, I'm going to use these 2 black candlesticks that I picked up at a thrift store, and I'm going to use Annie Sloan chalk paint in the color Original, and I'm going to use a Bennett chalk paintbrush. I really love the lines of these 2 candlesticks, so I'm hoping to do some distressing and make them look old and rustic. I gave the candlesticks 2 coats of the chalk paint, and then I had to use a 3rd coat just in some areas where it was still a little streaky. I tried some wet distressing on the large candlestick, and you can see in the corner there's still a few little dark spots that are there. I'm repainting those. I didn't like the look of the wet distressing, so I decided to take this little metal tool that I use for opening paint cans and just scrape off some of the paint in the areas where I wanted it to look distressed. This was more of the look I was going for. The last project that I have for you today is making over these coasters that I also picked up at a thrift store. They had some cute words on it. It was all about coffee, but really not my style, a little too cutesy. So I decided to create a big patterned buffalo plaid design on them. To paint buffalo plaid, the first thing you want to do is create your base color, which is always the lightest color. And for me today, it's going to be white. So I'm going to give it 2 coats of white paint. It can be chalk paint like I'm using, or it can be white acrylic paint. These coasters are 4 inches square, so I'm finding the center point on each side so I can draw a middle line and then a middle line across, so I have 4 large squares. I'm using this buffalo check napkin as inspiration, and I'm going to be just looking at a 4 square portion of the napkin. So I'm going to be using a white square, 2 gray, and 1 black. To make it easier for myself to not forget which color goes where, I just put the first letter of each color in the square, of course, except for the white because I don't need to change that. Using masking tape to tape it off will give me a nice clean line. I'm going to be using acrylic paint from this point forward, and the first color I'm going to do is black. I'm also going to remember to paint the edges of the coaster because I want each of the sides to reflect the color that's on the top. Then I'll repeat the process with the other two squares. I'm using a dark gray for the second square, and then for the third square, I'm going to lighten it up with a little bit of white acrylic paint and make a lighter shade of gray. You don't have to do that. I just thought it would look a little bit nicer with 3 different tones instead of just 2 different tones. When I pulled the painter's tape off of the black square, you'll notice that there was a little bit of paint that came off with it. So I did need to go through and refresh some of the colors, but that's okay. It's all part of crafting. Sometimes things work and sometimes they don't. I hope you enjoyed your time with me today. If you did, please like, comment, and share my video. Don't forget to hit that red subscribe button and the bell to get notified when I upload new content. Thank you so much for watching. I really appreciate your support. Take care, and I'll see you again soon.